Hello and welcome back. Today we are looking at understanding angles. We are building on our last angles lesson and we're looking to work towards mastery of this topic by looking at different problems involving angles. To achieve this, we will need to identify angles in shapes, describe angles in shapes, recognize angles as a description of a turn, and count quarter turns. So let's start with recognizing angles in a shape. We have a shape here. It is a right-angled triangle. There is a right angle in it. And I need to tick the angles in the shape, note the word in the shape, and label them as larger or smaller than 90 degrees. Now you'll remember 90 degrees is a right angle, one of those bookend corners that we spoke about. Now this says angles in the shape. There are, as we discussed last time, angles on the outside of the shape as well. However, for the purposes of this lesson, we are focusing on the internal angles, the angles on the inside. So an angle is where two lines intersect, where they meet. So there's one there, and there's one there as well, three angles in total. Now, this angle is a right angle. It is a book edge corner, and we can show that by putting a little square, drawing a little square angle there to show that. And then we're left with these two angles. Now, if they were a right angle, let me just change my pen colour. If they were right angles, they would create my 90-degree little bookend corner, and they'd look something like that. However, they do not. As you notice, this is smaller than a 90-degree angle. So I'm going to label that with an S for smaller. And this one is also smaller than my 90-degree angle, so I can label that with an S as well. And there I'm done. I've ticked all my angles and I've labelled them. Okay. What I would like you to do is grab yourself a piece of paper and something to write with. Draw a rough drawing of this trapezium here. Don't worry if it's not exact. If you don't have a ruler to hand, that's fine. Of course, rulers are always preferable. But just do a rough sketch of the shape and then tick your angles and label them with an S if you think they're smaller than 90 degrees or an L if you think they're larger than 90 degrees. Pause the video here until you're done. When you are finished, then you may press resume. Welcome back. So what we should have done is we should have started by ticking all our internal angles. So we should have one here where these two line edges meet, two sides meet, one here, and one here as well. So we've got four internal angles there. Now we need to work out whether they are smaller or larger than 90 degrees. So that's smaller or larger than a right angle. Let's start with this one. And I find the easiest way to do it, well, the easiest way to do it would be to measure it. I'm presuming that not all of us have protractors, so we're going to make do. You could hold a piece of paper or something that you know has a right angle up to it to see whether it's smaller or larger, or you could use a ruler to draw a line straight up from the corner, and you would see that this is a smaller than 90-degree angle. But over here, let's use the horizontal line as our indicator and draw a line straight down. That's not quite straight down, but you will see that this angle is actually larger than 90 degrees. And the same can be said for this angle. It is larger than 90 degrees. And the same can be said for, and this angle is smaller than 90 degrees. Well done if you got that right. There'll be more questions like this on today's worksheet for you to have a go at. Next, we're going to think about turns and have a look at those. We're going to think about turns as an angle. So this is my, a woman with a shopping trolley. Let's call her Freya. And Freya here is going to do some turning for us. We're going to find out how many quarter turns Freya has turned. So her starting point, I'll just mark on, she was facing this way to start with. Let's watch her turn. There she is. She's now facing this way. So she's gone from facing up here to facing over here. And you can see that that is a right angle. She's turned at a right angle. So she's turned 90 degrees so far, and that is 1/4 turn. 1/4 of a full turn. A full turn would be her spinning the whole way around. Okay, let's see where Freya goes next. Oh, Freya's now moving. Well, she's moved and she's now facing this way. So if we have a look, our angle now, instead of going from here to here, it goes from, and I'm going to change colour pen just to hopefully make it a bit easier to see. We're now going from this paint pointing up here. Whoa, did not mean for that to happen. And if we can undo that. Ooh, eraser. Sorry about that. So we've gone from here round to here. So there's our angle. And you can see that that's 1/4 turn and then another quarter turn. So 2 quarter turns there. So that's 2 lots of 90 degrees. And 90 degrees plus 90 degrees is 180 degrees. So you could say that that's a 180 degree turn there. But we've got, that's 90 degrees and that's a quarter as well. So so far we've turned 2 quarters and 180 degrees. Where's Freya going to go next? Some of you might be able to guess. Oh, look, there she is. Go for it, Freya. Okay. Freya's now facing this direction. She's taken another turn. She's going for it today, bless her. And she's spun round, which is no mean feat with a shopping trolley. For anyone who's ever had to try and carry one of those things around. But she's done another quarter turn. So that's another 90 degrees. Now you don't have to worry so much about adding the degrees together at this stage in year 3, but you do need to know that that is 1, 2, 3 quarter turns there. So she's gone 3 quarters of the whole way around. And let's see what she does next. Oh, she's back to where she started, isn't she? Beautifully done, Freya. Beautifully done. So let's go for orange. She's done the last turn there. And that's another quarter turn, another 90 degrees. So she's done a full turn there, 4 quarters, a full turn. Okay. Now it's your turn. No pun intended. Well, I would like you, wherever you are in your house, to find the door, if there's more than one, a door, I don't care which, in the room that you are sitting in. So you're going to get up, you're standing upright, make sure it's safe to move a little bit and there's nothing dangerous around you, nothing that you're going to knock off of mantelpieces or what have you. I'd like you to turn and face the door in the room that you're in. And what you're going to do is you're going to, in a moment, not yet, you're going to turn around and face the window. Okay, so you're going to change from facing the door to facing the window. And you're going to do that in quarter turns. So just to remind you, as Freya demonstrated so helpfully, quarter turn looks like that. Now, I don't know how many quarter turns it will be to get from your facing your door to facing your window. Hopefully they're not on the same wall. If they are, maybe choose a different door. But if I know that if I start facing my door, this isn't my door, this is a stock image, and then I turn to face my window, I have to go in 1, 2 quarters. I would like you to try it and find out how many quarter turns it takes you to get from facing your door to facing your window. Have a go. Resume the video when you have finished. Next, let's look at points of a compass. Now, we have looked at this in geography. We know that a compass shows us the way that we are facing. We know that north goes towards the top of the globe, more or less, and south goes towards the bottom. We've got east and we've got west as well. So there'll be some questions based around this on your worksheet, but suffice it to say, if I'm facing north and I turn to face east, I have done a 1 quarter turn. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Okay, so lastly, I'd like to think about shapes and rotating those, how far they've turned. I also want to talk about left turns as opposed to right turns, because shapes can turn both ways. I know our good friend Freya only rotated, bless her, she went quarter turns to the right, but it is possible to turn to the left as well. So we have left is over here, right is over there, and if you are ever stuck as to which is which, left and right, you can make an L with your forefinger and your thumb on your left hand. So that is left. So a left turn would go that way. So it would go, if it started up here, it would go that way around. A right turn, if it started up here, would go that way around. So a right turn goes clockwise, the same direction as a clock moves, and a left turn goes anti-clockwise, the opposite direction to the way a clock moves. Now, we don't know which way this shape has turned. The question's not told us, so I'd like to give both potential answers. Our arrow started off facing this way, facing up. We know this. And we know that it ended up facing to the side there. So, if it moved to the right in the same way as a clock, how many turns is that? Well, that's 1 quarter turn, isn't it? It turns 90 degrees from pointing straight up to pointing across. That's a quarter turn. It's worth mentioning at this point that I've not just turned this. If I had just turned my shape, it would be lying here because it would have just rotated round. This one's rotated and moved, but you will see a lot of questions where it's set up like this and the shapes are quite far apart. So if it just asks about the turn, just think about the turn and don't worry about the movement too much. So it's 1 quarter turn to the right. Let's see how many quarter turns it would be. Let's see how many quarter turns it would be to the left. So choose a nice green colour. Again, I started off up here, facing this way, and going to the left would be going anti-clockwise. So our 1 quarter turn would be there. The next quarter turn would be there, and the third quarter turn would be here. So if I'm going to the left, I've gone 1. In fact, I'll use my laser pointer to make it a bit easier to see. If I'm going to the left, I've gone 1, 2, 3 quarter turns. So you could either, and both would be equally right, you could say that I've either gone 3 quarter turns to the left, or I've gone 1/4 turn to the right. And there'll be questions like this for you to do on the worksheet. Sometimes it will tell you, oh, it's moved to the left, or oh, it's moved to the right. If it doesn't, then either answer will work, but bonus points if you can give both. So, thank you very much. Let's go through and think about our composites. Can we now identify angles in a shape? Hopefully we can. Can we now describe angles in shapes as greater than or less than, bigger or smaller than 90 degrees? Hopefully we can. Can we recognise angles as a description of a turn? Hopefully you now can, thanks to our good friend Freya. And can you count quarter turns? Hopefully you can. There will be a worksheet with all these types of questions on for you to have a go at on DB Primary. Thank you very much for your time.